what's going on? Kevin Hope here with BallHer Hoops. Back at you again with another episode. This time, Happy New Year. First episode of January 2023. A lot of big time action happened over the last few weeks, so I want to go ahead and get this Fire 15 done. A lot of changes, especially, well, really just everywhere except for the top spot. I think they pretty much have held their own and shown why they're the top team. But just to go through a couple things, I went to the John Wall Holiday Classic. Shout out to Coach Tay. Shout out to Tasha and her video skills and photography. A lot of good media out there as well. Coaches, AAU coaches, college coaches. Just a lot of good basketball being had. I want to thank her for having me and putting me out on the list. Got a chance to see the Salisbury team for the first time this year. Really good team. Kyla Bryan is a definitely star. I think she's one of the most under-recruited players in our area, probably in North Carolina, period. Then got to see Zamaria Jones, of course. She was a star. I've seen her play plenty of times in AAU basketball, but as far as school ball, it's a little different watching kids in school ball compared to AAU. Got to see one-on-one play. Panther Creek was a really good team as well. I think they're just getting better as they go because they play some top competition. Saw that I didn't see the Cherokee Invitational, but saw that Lake Norman won that. Catholic played good as well. One-on-one prep. They played against Winston Christian National, and I think that was a game that where, those are two of the tougher teams in the state, and they got to play against each other. So I like that. East Lincoln Invitational Classic or tournament, whatever they want to call it. Good teams there. East Lincoln ended up beating Mallard Creek in the championship. East Lincoln beat Mallard Creek. And then in the East Rutherford Invitational, East Rutherford played against Independence in the championship. Independence actually beat South Meck to get to the championship. South Meck ended up beating Hopewell in the third place game. So it was a lot of good tournaments, a lot of good games that were going down. A lot of teams went to Tennessee. Some teams went down to South Carolina for the Carolina Invitational. So let's get it started. We'll start with some honorable mentions because it's only 15 teams. Of course, everyone can't make that 15. So honorable mentions, South Meck. I have them right there on the edge of being at the 15 seed. I think the loss to Independence, it doesn't hurt them, but it didn't help them either. I pretty much was sure that they would beat Hopewell, so that was kind of a gimme. I got Hickory Ridge right here. I think that loss to Charlotte Catholic kind of moved them down for me. Not that they were supposed to beat them, but there's other teams that won games that mattered. Shelby is another team. They only have one loss so far, but I think they're still a team that might be good later on. I think they're still growing. They have a big win versus Watauga. Myers Park. I think Myers Park is another good team. They went 2-1 in Durham. I always forget the name of that. I have it in my notes. But they went 2-1 there, so they played some good competition. Newton Conover, they're also an honorable mention team. I think they have 2 losses, if I'm not mistaken, both to the same team. So let's get started at 15. Brand new to the Fire 15. Albemarle. Albemarle has played some really tough games. They have a loss against Bishop McGuinness, which is the last year's 1A state champion. And then I think they lost to Salisbury as well. I can't remember who their third loss to, but they've been playing tough competition. Really good team. They're young. Got some really bright stars on the team, good size, as well as some decent guards. But they're going to be a team to compete with Bishop McGuinness for that 1A Western region. I think they'll both be favorites, whoever wins the Western region, to win the state championship. So they're my number 15 seed. Number 14, Charlotte Latin moves up a spot. Charlotte Latin is another team that just keeps winning. If they lost, it's not on their schedule, so excuse me if I'm wrong, but I have them at 14. I think Charlotte Toon's a real good player there. She's a freshman. She's a star. They got another Vanderveer there that's going to be good as well. They get conference started, not this week coming up, but the following week. So that'll show if that team is really worth that ranking. So I expect them to either move up or move down real soon. Charlotte Catholic, tough loss to Lake Norman, but they had a really good tournament. And then they came back and then they beat Hickory Ridge in the Phenom Hoops tournament. I think with Blanca and Anaya Scales is really getting more accustomed to playing along other people. You got to realize that Independence, she never had bigs. Jada Brigman was there, but never really a post player. So she's getting used to that, being the main guard. Her and Olivia Favor are both good guards, but Grayson and Blanca and Charlotte Catholic are doing really good. Good win versus Hickory Ridge. If I'm not, I think they played Watauga. I don't want to say they did and they didn't. So I'm just going to say that. Oh, yeah, they did. They beat Watauga. Good win there. Because whoever won that got to play against Lake Norman in the championship. At number 12, I have Cannon School. Some big wins in Arizona. Tough loss to 101 Prep, and probably one of the better high school games this year. I know it's probably not on film anywhere, but it was an actual good game. Back and forth between the two teams. Now they're on to conference. They have to dominate conference, in my opinion, just to get their ranking up and to get to their goal of a state championship, because that's the goal there. Number 11 might be a surprise, but 101 Black. I think they have 6 losses so far. Now, don't get me wrong; those losses are to tough teams, nationally ranked teams, but you're a national level team, so I have to push your record to where you are against the teams that you're playing against. Can't just base it off of teams that are Charlotte area teams. So that's how they move to 11th. I think they have a really solid team. Watch them play against Quality Education, and you can see what they have as far as talent. Of course, Ella Hobbs is really good. Delaney Hill, but Aaliyah L is one of those players that may not get the recognition, but she's one of those players that makes them go. Great energy. She's one of the most important players, in my opinion, on that team. Number 10, I actually have Victory Christian, new to the Fire 15 as well. They were on it for a lot last year, but this year I think they only have one good loss, one loss period, and that's the Providence Day in a game to where they were up by 20, struggled with the press, and ended up losing. But since then, they're unbeaten. I don't exactly know in their Christmas tournament how they did. They struggled with posting on max preps. And, of course, no other way to know unless I'm reaching out to the coach. So I think they're got to be now the favorites to win state championship. I think them and Northside Christian are going to battle each other to see who will get to that point. Number 9. So I said that on Twitter, I told everyone there will be new teams in new regions. So Alexander Central is here. Undefeated team, new to the Fire 15. Researched this team, and I've watched them play a little bit, like not live action, but watched some film on them, and they're a solid team. They're going to be a factor in the 4A state playoffs. I think if you run up against them, you're going to have to really do your homework and not just go out there thinking, oh, well, they're not a Charlotte team, they're not going to win. They're a good team, very sound. They head into conference play where they'll play Watauga twice at least. But they have 2 wins over Newton Conover, and they recently just won a tournament. So I think they'll be a solid team. Number 8, I have Providence Day. Winning matters. I think they continue to win. It's a staple for that program. When you have that history, you continue to push it out. You continue to expectations of a team. That's what you get with Providence Day. They played in Tennessee. I think they lost 2 games there, but now they're at 3 losses. So I think between their matchup before Cannons, I think they'll be good before then. I think that's the biggest matchup for both teams coming up. Will be that matchup, and of course that's a big game for both. Independence, they're at number 7 this week. Move up, big win against Charlotte Catholic. We were at that game. Jessica Worthy was lights out for that game, and so was Chloe Moss. Cameron Kitchen was good as well, but they're a solid team. I think they just beat East Rutherford and South Met, as well as beating Charlotte Catholic. They went to Tennessee, lost their first game there, but then won out the rest. So this team is clicking at the right time, especially when conference matters. They still have to play Catholic again, but Catholic has to come to Indy. So we'll see how that goes. Number 6, I have Salisbury. 2 tough losses, their first 2 losses of the year, and they'll play another hard game. I think Coach told me they go to Virginia to play one of the tougher teams there. But this team is a dominant 2A team. I think they played against Panther Creek, which is a 4A team that is expected to get out of the Eastern region. And they played them tough. I think it went down pretty much to the 4th quarter. I think Panther Creek just had too much depth for Salisbury. They had the opportunity to get them in and out and get some quick subs to get a rest real quick. I don't think Salisbury really has the depth to do that. But their 5 are strong, and I think that going down the road, they're going to have to continue to push each other and just be a good teammate. They played against another 2A team, Eastern. They played against Zamaria Jones' team, and I don't know why. It's North Pitt. North Pitt ended up winning that game. North Pitt's a team where they're scrappy. Of course, they have the star, but they have a lot of players on that team that really work hard. So they lost to them, and that was a good game. So Salisbury is still top 6 for us. Number 5, I have Mallard Creek. They have 2 losses, one to East Lincoln and one to North Mac. 2 top teams. East Lincoln has been really good, but Mallard Creek is really good. I think they play without L. Stone during this tournament. I have no clue what was the reason. Don't want to make assumptions, but I know they were without her. I know Coach would say she's not making excuses. She still wants to win the game. So Mallard Creek moves down to 5. I think they still have a chance to win conference and to get a high seed in the state playoffs. Number 4, I have East Lincoln. East Lincoln's undefeated, and if you haven't seen them play, they have great size and they have a really good guards. They have 2 of them that's really good, and they have great size. A lot of Madison Self is a great leader for that team. She's going to be a senior that is trying to win a state championship. It's not just about winning games. They want to win a state championship at East Lincoln, and I think they have a chance to do it. I think last year they defeated West Rowan in the playoffs, which is a team I think is going to be them 2 again battling to try to get to that championship. So I had East Lincoln at number 4. Number 3, I actually have West Rowan, undefeated and clicking on all cylinders. If you haven't seen this team play, they play with an attitude. Some people don't like it, but I mean, the way they're playing and how they're playing, they play for one another. So that's really good. I didn't get a chance to see them yet, but I've seen them over the summer. Tierra Thomas is really good. Of course, Lauren Arnold. The addition of Jamisha Huntley is big for them. I know she brings that toughness, especially on the defensive end. She's a dog. So West Rowan is number 3. And it's going to be hard to see them losing to anybody else. Similar to East Lincoln, I think they're really at this point to where they're just waiting for playoffs. Like, they got to win out. Of course, don't get lazy, but they should win out. Number 2, I have North Mac. North Mac has 1 loss. I know those last 2 teams, excuse me, those last 2 teams are undefeated, but North Mac's got a better wins. Like, they got better wins. They went to Durham, went 3-0, beat a good Hillside team, beat Mallard Creek before the break, and their only loss comes to a buzzer beater from Lake Norman. So continue to watch out for North Mac. I think they're going to be one of the teams that competes with Lake Norman for that state championship. Last but not least, number 1, Lake Norman, winning the Cherokee Invitational. After winning that, I think their conference is good. Don't get me wrong. You got Cox Mill, West Cabarrus, Hickory Ridge. But I don't think any of those teams beat them without playing the perfect game. So, excuse me. For right now, I got Lake Norman winning, being a top team, going on to the playoffs, being a high seed, and everything will go through Mooresville. And that's all I have for today. I appreciate everyone. Salute.